Thank you, Member. Call the member for Koombah.
Thank you. Rise today to also add a contribution to this debate on housing legislation amendment bill 2022. I want to begin, Deputy Speaker, by saying I'm proud to be part of a state government that's tackling the issue of housing homelessness head-on. We have that 10-year framework that's been mentioned a lot of times, the Queensland Housing Strategy 2017 to 2027, and since it's launched, we've commenced over 2,400 new social housing homes, invested close to $140 million in community housing partnerships to deliver over 1,000 more new social and affordable homes, commenced build-to-rent pilot projects in Fortitude Valley, Newstead and Brisbane, which will deliver 490 rental homes at a discount rate out of a total of 1,200 new dwellings, constructing crisis shelters for survivors of domestic and family violence in areas of need across the state, improving legislation to better protect owners of manufactured homes and retirement villages. The bill makes some further changes with regard to transparency and accountability in retirement village finances, which I'll come back to. I know work is also underway on a new regulatory impact statement to address the rising costs in manufactured home parks. I look forward to seeing that work come to fruition later this year. Deputy Speaker, as part of the housing strategy, we've also launched the Queensland Housing and Homelessness Action Plan 21-25 and subsequently backed it up with a $1.9 billion commitment. Introduced new products and services including Bond Loan Plus, rent subsidies, no-interest loans, head leasing through the Department of Housing to help people access and sustain tenancies in the private rental market. For those if you haven't heard of head leasing or Help to Home initiative, you're thinking of renting out a property or know someone who is, anyone who's watching, I encourage you to look it up and consider leasing to the Department of Housing under some quite appealing terms. We've made changes to residential tenancy laws with our first tranche of changes in effect now. New minimum housing standards coming into effect for new tenancies this September and all tenancies. September 2024. I want to thank the over 150,000 tenants, property owners and managers who engaged with us during the consultation on these changes, especially those in my electorate who also provided their feedback directly to my office. In October last year, as has been discussed, the Premier convened the Queensland Housing Summit, bringing together a broad range of stakeholders to brainstorm new ways of addressing homelessness, especially in the short term. Since then, we've doubled our Housing Investment Fund, declared new priority development areas and committed $200 million for critical infrastructure to unlock land for development. We've also boosted funding for a range of region-specific programs, and I want to thank Encircle for meeting with me recently to talk about the myriad of services they're offering to help people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness across the Moreton Bay region. This bill furthers our objectives under the housing strategy, making it possible for Queensland homeowners, has also been discussed, to donate a percentage of their sale price to the Homes for Homes initiative. Homes for Homes is already operating in other Australian states, and although the percentage donated from each sale is tiny, cumulatively it does add up to facilitate new housing investment. Currently, our land title laws in Queensland don't support it, which is how the Homes for Homes donation deeds are recorded in other states. However, this bill will introduce an administrative advice that can be recorded on a land title to notify anyone dealing with the land in question of the voluntary donation deed. Importantly, an administrative advice is not legally binding. A potential donor is free to opt out at any time, and I see there's some amendments to further clarify that from the Minister. It's a great initiative. I encourage anyone thinking of selling their home soon, if you can afford to donate, please do. And you can claim it on your tax. Deputy Speaker, I mentioned earlier this bill takes our protections for residents in retirement villages another step further. We're doing this by creating new regulation, making power to introduce a form for the financial documents of retirement villages to be made public. These include capital replacement fund budgets, quarterly and annual financial statements, audit reports and quantity surveyor reports. To increase transparency, other financials might also be made to the public, including shared or apportioned expenses, for example, the relevant staff, administration, utilities costs if a number of villages are owned by one company, comparison of costs from previous years, and explanation of surplus or deficits. We are literally spelling out in the Retirement Village Act our objective to maintain public confidence in the industry through financially transparent and accountable operations. We hope these added consumer protections will drive best practice across the retirement village industry. The Department of Communities, Housing, Digital Economy will provide templates and guidance to assist the necessary transitions. We recognise that residents in retirement villages have made a significant financial investment in purchasing their homes. At a time in their lives when these Queenslanders should be kicking up their feet and relaxing, they shouldn't have to worry about being ripped off in their ongoing fees. This bill will help them to see where their money is going, providing the peace of mind they deserve. Deputy Speaker, our government will continue to step up our game when it comes to housing. We believe every Queenslander deserves a roof over their head. This bill makes sure residents in retirement villages can feel more secure in their homes and introduces a new avenue for ordinary Queensland homeowners to make a real difference when it comes to tackling housing shortages. Deputy Speaker, I commend the bill to the House.
Thank you, Member. Call the member for Surfers Paradise.
Thank you, Madam Acting Speaker.